Project pricing is a key component to all projects. Let's take a look at how we define project cost prices and sales prices. Okay, so let's go in and set up some project pricing. First thing that we'll do is we'll go in and set up a cost price, and then we'll show you how you set up a sales price. And then we'll go and review how you use your cost price and sales prices from a transactional perspective. And then finally, we'll get in there and we'll set up a price group and define some sales prices around that price group and assign it to a project and see how that pulls in. Okay, so we're going to set up some project pricing. The first thing that we'll take a look at is where we navigate to. So if we go to Project Management and Accounting, and then under Setup, we have a pricing folder, a prices folder, and you can see all the different prices that we can set up. So where we're going to focus on are the cost price, hour, and expense, the sales price, hour, expense, and fee. We'll leave alone the subscription pricing setup because that's more geared towards subscriptions within AX, which falls under Service Management module. And then transfer prices we'll talk about at a later time when we get into the intercompany borrowing and lending type functionality within AX. So if we want to set up a specific cost price, we can do so by going to either the cost price hours or cost price expenses form, and they're pretty self-explanatory. If you want to set up your labor costs, you can just come into here, click on cost price hour, and it's going to bring you into the table or grid or matrix, or whatever the heck you want to call it. And if you want to add a new record, you can. So in our previous module, we added a category called administration. So let's just add a rate for that. So if I go, we'll say it's effective of 1/1/16, and we're not gonna, we can define it at a role level if we wanted to. So these are all the different resource scheduling roles that you can define and assign to a resource, but we won't go at that level. We'll just say, and you can go to resource level 2, but we'll just say for a specific category. So in our case, that administration category that we released, we have a $75 cost rate. All right. And then I'll save that, and let's go define a sales price for that as well. So if I jump back and go to sales price hours, same concept, just add a new rate and say when it's effective as of, well, I'll go 1/1/16. Now this is where it's, if I just tried to define a category here, which is the second field, and just typed in my 175 and tried to save, it's going to go, project ID must be filled in. Well, that's because we have this valid for field and it says table. When you have it set to table, it's looking for a specific project here. What I'm going to do is just say for all projects, this category, $175 with the sales price model quantity. So per unit, $175. So if I save that, and now we back out of here, and let's just open up an hours journal, and then click on new, and go to the lines, and then we'll define any project. It doesn't matter, city manufacturing, and we'll pick that administration category, and then I'll just type in 10 hours. Well, the question is, well, where the heck do those pull in? If we look at the general tab, you can see there's our rates. So it's saying there's 10 hours, and per hour it's a $75 cost rate, which is the rate that we defined in our cost form, and then it's $175 sales price. So you can see where that all pulls in. So there's a lot of different combinations too when we go back and look at this. So each combination all has its own priority. Some of the best practices are, if you're going to set up standard rates, cost rates for your employees, the best way to do that would most likely be at the resource or the role level. It helps standardize things rather than having your own employees defining their cost rates and sales rates at time of transaction entry. So let's go in and take a look at a price group real quick, because that was our other agenda item for the demonstration. So if we go into, first of all, the first thing that you need to, well, let's look at a project contract real quick. So if we go create a new contract, and we'll pick a specific customer, say brakes and gears. All right. And you can see at the contract level, you can define a price group. And these price groups, they're set up in the inventory management module. And I'll just show you real quick where you can go create new price groups if you'd like. So I have two tabs open. So I'm just going to hop to my other tab here. And it's under inventory management. And then it's price discount. And then it's your customer price discount groups. So you can see there's those 5 groups that we had that are in the drop down over here when I look at the project contracts form. So basically, if you look at these, we have these 5, and if you want to define prices for at the project level, you can. So I just selected the trade agreements tab, and you notice there's a project setup area here. So if I go to sales price hours, and then it brings you into your sales price hours form. It doesn't show you all the rest of the lines that are in there. It filters it down to just this price group. But you can say, we'll just say effective of today, category administration, and we'll say that if you're part of this price group, you get $125 price rather than the $175. So I can save that, and then basically the next step is either assign it to your contract or to your specific project that they're part of that price group. If we go back and look at the actual sales price setup here for hours, we're going to notice that we have that record in here that we just added through the price group. So it's valid as of 3/16. The category is administration. It's at the group level. And when you define group here, it's not actually looking for a project group, which is interesting. It's actually looking for the price group. So it's saying if any project is part of price group 01, they get a $125 rate. All right, so now let's stop the talk and go look at how we do this real quick. And I'm not even going to set it up at the contract level. I'm going to set it up at the project level just so you can see that. So I'll go to all projects. I'm going to create a new project. And I'll pick any contract and just hit OK or create project. And then from here, if we go to the setup tab, there is a sales price group field. I can hit the drop down and I'll just assign this project to the major accounts price group and I'll hit save. So now if I actually go in and create a journal for this project, you notice, let's just go in here and create a new journal and go to the lines. Well, project stage created does not allow recording in this project, so that means we need to get out of that created stage. Oh, that's fun. There we go. So I'll flip us to the project stage in process. All right, so now let's go back and create our journal. Go to the lines, add a new line, pick our category, put in 20 hours this time, doesn't matter. And now you can see that we're pulling in the 125 rate rather than the 175 because we're part of that price group. So one thing that we came across, so now we're back on the project. When you're on that project tab of your project details, notice how you can set up cost prices and sales prices directly from here. I mean, it's no different than the form that we were in. It's just an easy way to get into the form is directly from the project, and it filters it down to the specific prices for the specific project. So if I click on hours here, you're only going to see the applicable hours at the table level. If I go to group here, you'll see that they're part of group 01. There's our 125 rate. And if I go to all, it's going to show me all the rates that would pull in for this specific project. But we don't have any specific rates for project 156 right now, and if you wanted to add some, you could. And project-specific rates are the most granular, and they'll always pull in first, assuming that there aren't any that have like a different combination. So like a project category combination or project resource category will be pretty close to the most granular that you run into. All right, I hope that shows you what you're looking to see around project pricing.